Welcome to Hope, the channel for everybody looking for science and evidence-based reasons to find hope in this hopeless world. If you dream of a world of prosperity, peace, and equality of opportunity for yourself, your children, and your children's children, you are in the right place. Now, this is a special edition of Hope because next week is my monthly weigh-in episode over at Vegan Ultra, so I won't be doing an episode. So I wanted to share with you the most important YouTube channel you're probably not watching but should be. First, let's understand the importance of artificial intelligence. As Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, said, AI could be as important as the steam engine, electricity, computing, and the internet. And the CEO of Alphabet, parent company of Google, says this could be as important as electricity or fire. If you want to be an informed citizen in the future, you have to understand how this works. Just like an informed citizen has to understand how electricity and fire and the basic infrastructure of technology works. So, let me share with you the most important channel you are not watching, David Shapiro. So this is a former computer programmer, 15 years as a programmer for companies like Cisco. For the last 2 years, he started his own AI startup, currently partnered with NVIDIA, as well as some other leading companies. But he is primarily supported to the tune of about $400,000 per year from 32,000 Patreon supporters, basically making daily videos or at least every 2 or 3 days. So what is absolutely amazing about David Shapiro's site is that whatever level of technological literacy you have, if you are a techie, you want to get into the actual code and how to code things, that is perfectly fine. I am not a coder. So I find it amazing that about half of these videos, non-techies can understand. So I would start personally here with When AGI. This is so basically AGI is human level intelligence. This is the idea of basically when do computers start to get smarter than humans. So this is where I would personally start. But notice these titles: the AI jobs apocalypse, AI companions and social impact, the control problem. This is how we make safe AI, cognitive architecture. How do these machines think? Comparisons between the various models, Google versus Bing. So Microsoft versus Google's model versus Meta's model versus Anthropic, which is backed by Amazon. So what are the differences between the different models? How will AI potentially affect human evolution and societal evolution? And we have the religious and philosophical implications of this technology. We have predictions on the different kinds of lifestyle in the age of AI. We have the Moloch problem. This is when people say we're headed for extinction. You're right. Currently, that is this. We're going through that. There's 4 different things that can happen: utopia, dystopia, collapse, or extinction. And he explains the game theory behind that in a 42-minute lecture with slides that makes it easy for anyone to understand. Age of autonomous AI. This is essentially where we are headed now with things like ChatGPT 5, biological immortality by 2030. Not the technology that could potentially get us there. There are plenty of futurists like Ray Kurzweil who believe we'll get there. But what happens if we achieve biological immortality by 2030? An entire 30-minute slideshow on the full scope of societal implications. How about Westworld and AI in robotics? The heuristic imperatives. This is what he's been actually working on. He's actually written 2 books on this: how to build AI in general and how to make it benevolent by design through the heuristic imperatives of maximizing prosperity, understanding, and minimizing suffering in the universe. Carefully chosen so that when optimized, no matter how powerful or intelligent an intelligence gets, it will not become Skynet and kill us all. So, DAOs, this is an incredible 44-minute presentation on how decentralized autonomous organizations will allow safe AI that all of us own. It works by consensus. This can be applied to households, governments, companies, co-ops, 7 or 8 kinds of levels of human organizations can use this. And of course, this, along with the heuristic imperatives, ensures benevolent AI in the future. Going through why some people are so scared of AI and why you shouldn't necessarily be one of them. Talking about axiomatic alignment, how we align the interests of not just humans with ourselves, but with AI and intelligent robots in the future, so that we can, as one of my friends put, maximize benefit for all. Post-labor economics. So how the impact on the economy. Peace with AGI through energy hyperabundance. This is actually a master class that's about 85% accurate. I've been fact checking all of this with my AI life coaches. It's 80 to 90% accurate in general, talking about the future of energy and why that is so important to the future of the global economy, how we can have safe and effective optimized global regulations to ensure safe and benevolent AI, life with universal basic income, an entire 45-minute presentation, in-depth look at what that would likely affect society. 82% of all jobs could be at some point at least partially automated. So going through that, essentially where machines naturally are going to go, epistemic convergence, basically the idea that all intelligent beings given enough information will arrive at the same conclusion, just like the nuclear scientists in Russia, China, and the US, despite very different political views, all arrive at the same conclusions. Which jobs will we be doing in the future? Very interesting presentation. How do we actually pay for UBI, Universal Basic Income? The psychology of AI overlords and transhumanism, with examples from popular culture so you can understand it in a context that you might have seen in the movies. How could AGI potentially escape? What about the singularity crisis and the death of human meaning in the age of AI? How about how to invest and start businesses? How to maximize your own personal productivity and prosperity in the age of AI? And of course, what about productivity? 15% productivity in the future, 15% global GDP growth. So you can see basically every question you might have. How is this going to affect government? How is this going to affect democracy? How is this going to affect my job? What is life going to look like in the future? Both the dark extinction level threats. How do we avoid that? And how do we get to utopia? What is the probability of utopia? He estimates it at 70%. And we'll give an entire 45-minute lecture with slideshows and evidence that I've confirmed about 85% accuracy on his optimistic opinion. So the point is, with David Shapiro, these roughly 125 or so videos made for the average non-techie to understand every aspect of AI. And remember, he has an AI startup. Yes, he's someone in the industry, but he is not Sam Altman of OpenAI. He is not Satya Nadella of Microsoft. They are not pushing their books and talking about how this is going to be fantastic for the future of all, that, they have an incentive, they have, money at stake. No, he's someone who knows the technology, who's working on the technology. He is working open source with thousands of collaborators to actually produce research reports, to build software platforms that other companies can plug in so that their AI models are benevolent by design and safe, no matter how powerful they get. He is not only talking and explaining the future Star Trek utopia, he's working with other very smart people to manifest it and actually build it. Now, let me, of course, conclude, as I do every week, with the charts, the evidence for hope for a hopeless world. Now, of course, when people say, hey, I have all these examples of how the world sucks. Well, as our World in Data explains, the world is awful, much better, and could be better. All three statements are true at the same time. Right now, 4.3% of all children in the world die before their 15th birthday. That is objective proof the world is awful. But it used to be 10 times worse. Half of children used to die before 15. And in the European Union, it's 10 times better, less than 0.5% do. And of course, in the future, that number could drop by 90% as well. So the point is, the world, much better, still room for improvement. And take a look at this. As we've seen, I like to add these each week. Here we have wages in the United States moving forward much faster than our peers. So good news for Americans. Fastest wage growth is on the bottom end of the spectrum. You can see for the last 40 years, the rich had it very well. Well, guess what? Guess who's catching up? Since the pandemic, inflation-adjusted wage growth for the middle class and the poor, the highest, and the mirror image of the high inflation 1970s. In fact, inflation-adjusted wage growth in the last few years is growing for the poor 10 times faster and more than twice as fast for the middle class. Meanwhile, we have overall in the last 2 centuries, poverty falling, democracy rising, education soaring, vaccination rising, child mortality falling, literacy rising as well. Literacy at all-time highs. Peace, despite the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine, this is the most peaceful time in history. And of course, extreme poverty, the lowest levels in history. Child labor also on the decline. So there you have it. Hope for a hopeless world. Things are getting better. There's still so much work to do, but people like you, me, Dave Shapiro, and his army of super nerds with their open source AI, safe AI software, we're all working together to bring about that utopia. Yes, it's true. It's either utopia, dystopia, extinction, or collapse. But at the end of the day, the genius of humanity is that if one person has the right idea, the right solution, ultimately, we will all embrace it. Whether it takes 50 years or 500 years and takes a world war and numerous other conflicts along the way, obviously we're trying to prevent that. But we are moving in the right direction. The solutions are out there. This is not a question of can this happen? It's purely a question of technological advancement, political will, and people like you and me saying yes to this solution. Yes to hope. Yes to a future world of equality of opportunity for all, where every child is able to reach their maximum potential, and we live in a post-scarcity world where poverty is a thing of the past. Yes, it's possible, and we'll get there together. Thank you so much for watching. Back in 2 weeks with a new episode talking about the hope for the future of entrepreneurship. It's absolutely incredible. You are going to love what you do in the future, and I'll explain why in 2 weeks. But until then, have a wonderful week. Stay safe, enjoy your family, and of course, live long and prosper.
Life lessons come 1 in a dozen. The other 11 give something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you, I never could have moved away. But now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure. But one day I'll be yours again. other 11 get something from nothing. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. Life changes, just open the door. One thing's certain, I'll always be yours.